Welcome back. The panel is still here. Anna Palmer. President Trump has said entitlements will not be touched. And there you heard Elon Musk say, it's the big one. It's what's fueling most of government spending. So what are your sources telling you about how this is going to play out?
I mean, it is the big one, but it's also why you saw the Trump administration pull back from anything in Medicare or Medicaid, because those are kind of the third rail. Republicans don't want to be talking about that. But we were speaking to Republican senators. I think two things really stood out to me this week. One, they are still on board with what this administration is doing. They go back home, cutting, wasteful, fraudulent spending plays really well. And I think the second thing has been really interesting. As these cabinet secretaries have come on board, the wings of Elon Musk are being clipped. And Elon Musk is also coming to the Hill. He came and talked to Senate Republicans, gave them his cell phone number, and said, if you have a problem with something that's been cut in your state, in your district, get in touch. That is some hand-to-hand combat that you don't typically see from an administration.
Eugene, we felt exactly what Anna's saying, that Elon Musk's wings had been clipped in a response that Secretary Bessent had when I asked him, how big are the cuts going to be to the IRS? And he said, we're going to launch a review. Elon Musk was not launching reviews. He's just slashing things. I mean, it's a very different approach that he revealed.
It is, because it shows that the blowback that came from the speed at which Elon Musk and Doge were operating and kind of the chaos that was created is something the administration did not like. It's something Donald Trump did not like, right? This is why there was that blow up at that cabinet meeting where Donald Trump told the cabinet secretaries, no, you're in charge. Elon's like a helper, right? Elon doesn't know that, but Elon's a helper. And Bessent actually kind of had to tussle publicly with Elon before, right? He, in February, had to say, no, he's not in our systems in the way that he and the Doge kids are kind of saying it. And so that shows the frustrations that have been building in the secretaries who want to run their own departments is coming out, and now Donald Trump is changing things because of it.
Sarah?
Yeah, I mean, I think, look, if you look in the poll, nearly two-thirds of people support the tenets of Doge, and some will argue go faster, some will argue go slower. I think the most important thing the White House and Elon Musk need to do is come up with a more consistent narrative about the arc of why this needs to happen, and a process. And I think that, also in that poll, I was struck by the number of people who claim to know somebody who's been impacted by a government reduction cut or something. It was, pushing 30%. And that includes a lot of people, including probably farmers who are worried about tariffs. But nonetheless, this is out in the mainstream and people are worried about it. They support it, they understand it, but they need to hear a consistent, clear message from the government.
That disconnect where the administration is not doing enough to explain exactly what they're doing.
I think you've taken the eye off the prize, right? Generically, everyone's for, getting waste out of government, right? Who's not for getting waste out of government? For 4 months going up into the election, we sat around this table talking about inflation, the price of eggs, inflation, the price of eggs. And 55% of Americans in our NBC polling says that they've not done enough to focus on bringing down costs.
It's an opening for Democrats.
It is absolutely an opening, quite frankly, for Democrats. And look, and I hear that secretaries sit around your table and talk about sort of how they've been focused on the economy and bringing down costs. And what have they been doing to do it? If I look at what they've been most focused on from day one, quite frankly, is diversity, right? It's quite frankly going after diversity and going after equity a lot more than they've gone after cutting the price of eggs. If they've spent as much time on price of eggs as they're going after diversity, eggs might be free at this point.
One of the striking moments of this week was the moment where President Trump basically had a car show at the White House. Tesla's on display with Elon Musk. It comes as, of course, Tesla's sales have been dropping. Elon Musk's approval ratings much lower than President Trump's, by the way. The optics of this, Anna, is it complicated for the White House?
Well, it's amazing that they're doubling down on Elon Musk because, to Cornell's point, this is the opening for Democrats. They're already starting to run ads featuring Elon Musk as the boogeyman. This gives them the B-roll and the visual that you need to say that the White House is, kind of mixing business with the work of the government.
Yeah, Eugene, we should note President Biden did actually have electric cars at the White House as well. So we've seen this type of display.
But Tesla.
Yeah, well, yeah, and that's what makes it so complicated. Because in this case, you have Elon Musk who works at the White House with President Trump.
Well, so I looked at that and I thought, there's so many parallels between how Donald Trump sees himself and I think how he sees Elon Musk. Here's a person who's wealthy, who's wildly successful, has great property, at least Donald Trump has great property, doesn't need to do this. Is doing this because they believe the country is headed in the wrong direction and they have a unique ability to come impact and improve it. And then they have been vilified. Donald Trump was vilified for what he tried to do. And he sees Elon Musk being vilified. And that parallel, and Tesla stock has dropped nearly 50% since Christmas. He's paying a price for his involvement, and he doesn't need to do it.
A poor Elon.
I see you wanting to get in. I see you wanting to get in.
Richest man in the world, Elon.
Poor no.
Look, I think I hear you on that, but
But he doesn't need to do it.
But see, well, then don't do it. Quite frankly, if you look at his numbers, I think most Americans would argue, we don't want you to do it.
Now, I'm not sure that's true. You look at 2/3 of the country believes the government needs to be reformed, and so at great personal risk for his businesses, he's doing this.
He's also acknowledged there have been mistakes. Is it the way he's doing
Well,
it?
he's ham-fisted, and by the way, a billionaire is not someone that most Americans are going to think understands their way of life and understands the programs and things in the government that actually help them. And you know what he's showing? He's showing that he does not, in fact, understand sort of what Main Street America is focused on, right? And the idea that what Biden did at the White House is similar to the Trump basically being a salesman and hawking the Teslas on the front lawn of the White House is completely different. The ad writes itself.
But why the Democrats aren't doing it? Immediately the next day, there should have been just that ad. Just show that over
You're saying
and over
another
again.
missed opportunity
Another missed
for
opportunity
Democrats.
to get on the same show.
Bad messaging.
But I mean, like, when you talk to them behind the scenes, they explain the Elon of it all in a much better way than they do when they go on television. They don't talk about him as an oligarch behind the scenes, right? They talk about him as someone who is, in their eyes, doing Doge, because he wants to help his businesses at the end of the day, right? They're talking about that conflict of interest. That's something that the American people actually understand, but they, again, continue to miss an opportunity to actually do that.
And a final 30 seconds, the relationship between Trump and Musk, one of the most extraordinary, and I'm told his low poll numbers actually help that solidify that relationship.
I mean, we have all been watching so closely. When is this going to blow up, right? Famously. And so far, I think Sarah points it out, they're really similar figures. And this is the only time you've seen Trump do an interview with his cabinet secretary, let him speak like this. It's pretty astounding, and we'll all be watching to see how long it works.
We certainly will. What a great conversation, guys. Thank you so much. That is all for today.